Here are the brand new Bowers & Wilkins Pi8, and the PI stands for personal in-ear. And in this video, instead of just doing the usual style review, I thought I would attempt to preempt the questions that you might have about the Pi8 if you're considering buying them or upgrading your current earbuds. And before we begin, I just want you to know that I've tested the sound quality, the ANC and the ambient modes versus my current top 6 earbuds, and if you stick around, I will tell you how they stacked up. And also, it's worth noting that the Bowers & Wilkins Pi8s do have a trick up their sleeve, and all shall be revealed. But first, question 1, and this might be the most obvious one, is how much do they cost? So the Pi8s officially launch on August 28th, 2024. Price point at launch is $349 here in the UK, it's $399 in Europe and America. And yes, that is a premium price tag. And if you stick around, hopefully this video will help you decide whether it's worth spending that kind of money. So another important question, what colors are they available in? So of course I'm stating the obvious here, they are available in black. And just touching on the design very quickly, even though they're not quite as flashy as the Pi7s were to look at, they do have a very classy and premium look. And I particularly like the two-tone color scheme they got going on here with the metal, and that glass-like surface over the subtle branding is pretty slick. And if you are familiar with the Bowers & Wilkins Pi7 that were released in 2021, you might notice some subtle but some significant changes to the design. Bowers & Wilkins have made a bunch of upgrades here with the mic placements and the overall ergonomics on the buds, but we'll come back to that. Anyway, as I was saying, there are 4 colors. There's the anthracite black, the jade green, dove white, and the best-selling and most popular color of any Bowers & Wilkins headphones, the midnight blue, which I do like the look of. And now this is an important one, especially if you have very small or particularly large ears. You probably want to know what size ear tips you get with the earbuds. In the box as standard, you get the medium-sized already attached to the earbuds. You've also got the large, the small, and an extra small set of silicone tips. And these tips do have an integrated mesh inside to protect the speaker grill, so that's always nice to see. And the shape of the fitting is circular, which means you might be able to fit some third-party ear tips to these if you want to. And I did measure this, and it's just over 4mm in diameter. So staying on the topic of how they fit, one very important question when it comes to any wearable tech is how comfortable are they? And when it comes to earbuds, how secure is the fit? Well, everybody's ears are different, and during the in-person briefing that I had with Bowers & Wilkins, they did say that comfort was an area that they really focused on with these earbuds. And in my opinion, having used these a lot over the last few weeks, they have done an excellent job when it comes to the comfort and fit. And I've never once worried about them falling out, even whilst riding over some cobblestones on an electric bike in Paris. And trust me, that's a pretty extreme test. And it really comes down to 2 factors. The silicone tips sit pretty deep into the ear canal, and this helps lock them in nicely. But there's also this kind of rubberized lip around the edge that creates a nice bit of grip, and this reduces any slipping around when they're in your ears. So this gives them top marks in my opinion, and I do believe these will be suitable for the gym. And a follow-up question on that, if you are thinking about getting these for the gym, is are they waterproof? The answer to that is yes, they are. However, within reason. Swimming, for example, is out of the question. But if you get caught in the rain, the earbuds do have an official dust and water resistance rating of IP54. Put simply, light rain, splashes, sweat, and some dust and sand won't be a problem for these earbuds. Okay, now let's talk about power. You get 6.5 hours of playback with ANC on in the buds. Obviously you can use them one at a time and double that playback time if you wanted to. And you get a total of 22 hours with ANC on when including the charging case. Naturally, the next question will probably be, how long do they take to charge? Well, when the buds run out, a 15-minute quick charge in the case can give you up to 2 hours of playback. To fully recharge the buds in the case is just under an hour, and to fully recharge the case itself is around 2 hours. Staying on the charging topic, do they support Qi wireless charging? Yes, they do support Qi wireless charging. Of course, it's not going to be as fast as a cable, but the benefit of this is if your phone does support reverse wireless charging, you can recharge the buds on the back of your phone if you find yourself without cable. Is the charging case pocketable? So it is a good size. The weight is just 48 grams. It's slightly larger than some of the other competitors out there. However, with that said, it certainly passes the Cowboy Pocket Watch pocket test. It's got nice smooth edges as well, so it just glides in and out your pocket super easy. And also it's worth noting that the case does have an LED indicator light which gives you an idea of the battery status, and also they do support Google Fast Pair, so when you pop the lid it will pop up on your Android device, making them super easy to connect. Alright, now some important stuff that a lot of people might overlook when they're shopping around. It is the Bluetooth codecs that are supported. If you care about audio, then you should definitely care about this. The official Bluetooth version is Bluetooth 5.4. It's the latest and greatest one, which means stability will be optimal, and also multi-point pairing is an option. And these also have the made for iPhone certification, which does mean they can use the iPhone's best possible codecs, so you will get optimal sound when listening via iOS. But the real game changer here, if you really care about audio, is that they do support Qualcomm's aptX adaptive and aptX lossless, which means you can get a 24-bit 96 kHz signal from your device to the earbuds if you happen to have a compatible device. However, remember that trick that I mentioned at the beginning of the video? This is it. Even if you don't have any devices that support aptX, the case itself does, and it can be used to broadcast an aptX adaptive signal to the buds via the case from any devices plugged into using the cable that Bowers & Wilkins kindly provide in the box. It is a USB-C to 3.5mm aux cable. So do you realize what this means? This means you can use these earbuds with in-flight infotainment systems, old MP3 players that you might have lying around, and anything that has a 3.5mm aux out. I do believe this is one of the killer features for these earbuds. So it's one thing to have good signal capabilities, but it's pointless if you don't have the delivery system on the other end. And of course, I am referring to the drivers and the hardware actually inside the earbuds. And since these are Bowers & Wilkins flagship earbuds, of course, they've equipped them with their very best drivers, and they've also thrown in an upgraded DSP and DAC. The drivers are actually larger than most of the competition out there. They're Bowers & Wilkins' own silicon cone 12mm drivers, and these are kind of like miniaturized versions of the very premium ones used in the over-ear PX8 headphones. And typically larger drivers means deeper bass and wider soundstage. So here's the biggest question of them all: how good do they actually sound? So it's important to know you can EQ these earbuds or leave them neutral, or turn on the Bowers & Wilkins trademark True Sound EQ. I did use the True Sound to formulate my opinions on the sound quality. So here's what I think. The clarity is phenomenal, especially when listening to high-res audio from Tidal. The soundstage feels open and airy, which is something you don't always get with earbuds because they have such small drivers. You get great details and excellent definition between instruments and vocals. The higher frequencies sound very crisp, and pretty much all music has really good power to it, even when there's not a lot of bass in the track. So the best way I can summarize this is the Bowers & Wilkins Pi8s have a very clean and detailed sound with great power. And of course, I'm not forgetting about you bass heads out there who really care about those low ends. Even before EQing the earbuds, those large diaphragm drivers deliver impressive bass, and yet you will definitely be satisfied with the amount of bass you get from these, and even more so if you do decide to EQ them. These are bangers for sure, and I did create a custom EQ for bass heavy tracks like hip hop and dance and all that kind of stuff. If you want to test out my EQ, pause the video here. So the next question is, how good is the Bowers & Wilkins earbud app? So there is a lot to like about the simplicity of this app. You get the basic battery levels here on the home screen. You also get the quick ANC mode toggles, and then you've also got this excellent 5-band advanced EQ option, which allows you to dial in your own EQ using 0.5 increments. So that's nice. Now, while you can't save your manual presets, the one that you do dial in stays there even when you switch between the True Sound and back again. And then you've also got the paired device menu, which allows you to quickly swap between previously paired devices with the earbuds, which is definitely going to be handy if you're switching back and forth between phone and laptop and tablet, for example. Now, before we move on to the next question, I do want to give an honorable mention to the very slick streaming app integration within the Bowers & Wilkins app. This is great because instead of having to switch back and forth between the Bowers & Wilkins control app and your various streaming services, I've got like 3 or 4 of them now. I don't know how I've ended up with all of these, but I have. But the great thing about this app is you can have everything all in one place, which certainly elevates the browsing and listening experience, and it makes it super easy barely an inconvenience. So what about the controls? Well, so both sides do have capacitive touch sensors which do react with just gentle touches. So you're not going to force them into your ears by trying to control them. A single tap will play pause, a double tap will go back, triple tap goes forward, a long push and hold on the left side will toggle through the ANC modes, a long push and hold on the right side wakes the virtual assistant. And then if you're on a phone call and you want to hang up, you can double tap and then long hold either side to end that call. You do get the option to change the buttons a little bit. So instead of the ANC and voice assistant with the push and hold, you can switch it to volume controls instead. So the customization of the touch controls aren't quite as customizable as some of the competition out there. But once again, I do like the simplicity of this. It makes it much less likely that you mess up the controls and forget how you set them up. So another big question in regards to noise cancelling, how good are they? So as I mentioned before, I have been using these for a few weeks and I have taken these on some long distance trips. And so far I've been very impressed with the performance. However, I've only been using these earbuds, so I haven't really compared them. So to get a better idea of how good the ANC is, I've actually taken quite a bit of time to test these against my current top 6 noise cancelling earbuds. So right now it's the AirPods Pro, the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro, the Sony XM5s, the Technics AZ80, the JBL Live 3, and the Nothing Ear 2. And to test these, I was playing some very loud airplane noise from my desk speakers, and they perform really well versus the competition. The ANC strength overall isn't the strongest. Some of the other earbuds did perform a bit better when it came to the amount of noise being blocked out. However, the downside to that sometimes is you get this kind of cabin pressure in your ears. These kind of cut off at the right point where you don't get any of that cabin pressure. Overall, they did rank in joint 3rd place against my top 6. And to explain how the ANC performs, they do a really great job at blocking out the lower frequencies, the rumbling noises. Some of that higher pitched white noise still comes through a little bit, but is certainly powerful enough that you could easily fall asleep wearing these on a plane. And remember how I mentioned the mic positioning upgrades? There are 3 mics on each side, and now they've been more strategically placed so that they're much less likely to be blocked or obstructed, which might be a problem that some of the other earbuds here could suffer from. So when it comes to ANC, they're not the strongest of the pack, but they're not the weakest. They're right in the middle. And to be clear, that still makes them top tier in my opinion. So the next question might be, how good is the pass-through mode, the ambient mode, where the external mics feed audio from outside into the earbuds? So once again, I did test these against my top 6 earbuds in a similar test, but this time I was using one of my videos on the monitor in front of me to see how well voices come through. And many people do consider the Apple AirPods to be the gold standard when it comes to this mode. And the good news here is the Bowers & Wilkins are very close to the AirPods Pro and definitely closely competing with the top 3 in this test, in my opinion. But here's another little feather in the cap for the Pi8 when it comes to ambient pass-through mode. The mics have actually been positioned to pick up audio more from in front of you than behind you. So this might be an advantage. And I say this because this makes them excellent and maybe even better when it comes to having conversations with people directly in front of you whilst using the ambient mode. So overall, how do the Pi8s do versus my current favorites? So while they don't have all of the bells and whistles built into the case design versus the JBL or the AirPods, for example, and the complexity of the app isn't quite as advanced as some of the others, I really like how Bowers & Wilkins have kept things simple but classy. They've got this clean, elegant design, and the software is very, very easy to use. There's a lot to like about the app. And then of course there's that killer feature which none of the other earbuds in my top 6 has. That's the ability to broadcast audio via 3.5mm via the case. Honestly, this could be a game changer for a lot of you and incredibly useful if you're doing lots of flights across the planet, and also if you have any older audio equipment which don't have Bluetooth at all. But ultimately, the reality is the Bowers & Wilkins Pi8 superpower isn't in all of the bells and whistles, it is in its sound quality. When I tested these alongside my top 6, it's fair to say they stood out from the crowd. And if for you sound quality is the priority and the factor that carries the most weight, then you won't be disappointed with the Pi8s. So I hope I've got to all of your questions in this video. If I didn't, then let me know in the comments below and I will do my best to answer those for you. If you found this video valuable, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, I would appreciate it. And if you just subscribed, you're now one of the finest subscribers known to man. And I'll see you in the next one. Don't be late.